Flea Market Love Letters is a digital archive of vintage love letters. We believe everyone has a letter story. Tucked in forgotten shoeboxes on high shelves, letters tell us the real stories of everyday men and women. Written between friends, family, and lovers, letters paint the portrait of us for what it must have been like to live through some of the most significant moments in history. In the 1910s, the Titanic sank, the Oreo cookie was invented, and a global pandemic known as the Spanish flu swept the world. In 1914, World War I broke out, and in 1917, the United States declared war on Germany. By the end of World War I in 1918, some 4 million American men had served in the United States Army for the war effort. For many of the men enlisted in the war, letters were a link with the homes and the families they had left behind. Two brothers, Rex and Alfred Green, shared their experiences of the war in letters home to their mother in New Mexico.
November 13, 1918. Dear Mama, I received your most welcome letter today, and was certainly glad to hear that you and Papa and sisters were well. I'm well and feeling fine. Glad that Rex is all right. We are still under quarantine, but don't think it will be long before we can get liberty. I got a letter from Rex a day or so ago. He said he was all right. Well, it was certainly too bad about Bud Blanksy getting killed. Well, we got word here that the war is all over now. Maybe some of the boys will be coming back to Hope before long. I don't expect to get back for some time yet. There isn't no news to write, so I must close. Tell Papa and girls hello for me, and for them to write often. Well, must close. Answer soon. Your loving son, A.N. Green.
In the 1920s, women gained the vote, Reese's candies were invented, and prohibition swept the United States. While many sexual and gender morales were fast changing in the post-war generation, progress came slowly. Thelma Pierce Crawford's letters are a time capsule of this era. Written to her beau back home in Georgia, Thelma's letters tell of the high life in 1920s New York City.
February 21st, 1920. Dearest Kay, above all things, for you to call me a vamp. Please, you don't really think it, do you? Why did you do it? I am not one at all, 'cause a vamp is one who encourages attention without meaning it, and I never encourage attention without meaning it. So there. You were awfully sweet to send me the dainty card Valentine's. I did appreciate it so much 'cause you sent it, and the thought that prompted you to send it. Now, as for coming home, I am still weighing the balance, and I appreciate your advice so much. It brought out another side to me. I am trying to see which will be best, so am just waiting for viewing it from all sides. I see even you hadn't up until now thought that I am really and truly earnest with my work. Why is it people think that? I can't see 'cause I am. I have had a good time all my life, and now I want to be worthwhile. I am not a butterfly any longer. I've seen 1 or 2 good shows lately and been to the opera twice. I saw and heard Caruso and Metzinor in Samson and Delilah, then Farrar in Madame Butterfly. Both were perfectly wonderful, and so I enjoyed them so very much. Also been to several dances, and I'm going to one next week. I'm getting into the swing again, and I'm really getting crazy about it again, which I didn't think that I would ever do for a while. I think you wrote me an awfully curt little note. You surely must be busy or something. You didn't even tell me where you've been going so much. Now, don't forget to write real soon, too. Thelma.
In the 1940s, The Bikini debuted, George Orwell's 1984 was first published, and World War II raged across Europe. This is perhaps the time period folks think of when they think of letters. there were an estimated 556 million pieces of email sent to U.S. servicemen overseas from 1942 to the end of the war, with approximately 510 million pieces in return from the front lines. Letters connected men and women abroad with their homes, like Bill Ahern from Elizabeth, New Jersey, who wrote to his mom and pop from 1943 to 1945.
December 26, 1944. France. Dear Mom and Pop, you'll never guess what arrived today in the mail. One day late for Christmas, but nonetheless welcome. A little RCA black radio, fresh from the US and the black market. It arrived in good condition in Dad's silver-painted handmade box, which was used to start our fire tonight. And there was one tab broken, but as I said, that was easily fixed. I took it over to Joe Bender, and in half an hour it had battery and a new tube and was playing Dolly with a hole in her stocking. Music coming directly from the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Tonight, this far, we have been able to get Sally, the hang-up girl of the US Army, BBC London, the Army Station in Italy and Radio Rome, and the Blue Danube from Vienna, even a short-wave broadcast from the States. I've scratched WA December 25th, 1944 on the front, and I'm going to put the name of every place I take it. You better hope Berlin gets it soon. I'm glad you finally received some mail from me, as I'm sure you must have worried and wondered what was up. All the fellows say their mail hasn't been getting through. It sure wasn't because of any mail on my part. We are still in the same country, the same place. The two enclosed letters are the same two I wrote you when I first came to France. Also enclosed are 3 pictures which I don't believe you've seen. One is of the hotels I've stayed in, another of the result of a B-17 with a bathroom sink, the only thing left upstairs. Last, drinking beer in a tavern and having lots of fun. And boy, you should hear that radio give out. I have it right alongside of my bed, with a few pictures of the folks and the pin-up Hedy Lamarr sent us. Oh, did I tell you about that one night with nothing to do and a wall almost filled with pin-ups? Some said Hedy Lamarr would look good in that spot. And then someone said, let's write her. And we did. Each of us, 11 of us, signed the letter. Thursday, 11 pin-ups autographed by Hedy. What a line we handed her. Even better than Ellie and I used to do back in the 30s. Well, till tomorrow. Love. Bill.
After the war, a young woman from Pennsylvania named Jean Loudon volunteered for the United Nations Relief and Rehabilitation Administration, or UNRWA. UNRWA provided economic assistance to European nations after World War II to repatriate and assist refugees who had come under Allied control. Jean spent time distributing food, clothes, cigarettes, and goodwill. A handful of those whose lives she touched wrote to her sister Vera.
December 26, 1945. Dear Vera, in the first place, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Dutch people. You may be surprised to hear from us, but we know your sister, Jean. We met your sister last summer. She was stationed here in our village last summer in the UNNRA camp. My brother was there quite often, and one night he came home with her to pay a visit at our house, for she didn't like that camp. She always called my brother General Montgomery because he was wearing a Canadian uniform. We haven't heard from her since she left Hatert. How we would ask you if you will be good to write us for a small note back and tell us some about her, and will you give me her address at least if she's still in the army? I am a sister of Chris and have only seen her once, and I'll never forget that cigarette she gave. They are very hard to get here, so I'll ask you if you could send me some, and I'll send you a nice souvenir from Holland. I'm 17 years old, and my brother is only 12 years. Well, dear Vera, I'll close now, hoping to hear soon from you. Kindest regards and best wishes from brother, father, and 9 children, but special regards from Chris and myself. Your Dutch friend, Mary Vonk.
It's the honor of Flea Market Love Letters Archive to bring you these letters and stories. Understanding the role of letters in history, we created the Write More Letters project, which supports U.S. veterans through the sale of teas, totes, and mugs. To support the fundraiser or explore more of the archive, please visit fleamarketloveletters.com to learn more.